So here we are, it's Wednesday night. A few updates to discuss. Obviously, the government have now closed schools. Half was sent home half day today, which was quite annoying, to be honest, because we stayed into the Sparkles, the nursery she goes to in the mornings, and while she was there, we got a text message off the normal primary school that she goes to in the afternoons, saying that's it, all non-essential children, basically all the nursery and early learnings shouldn't be sent into school anymore, and that department was closing down immediately. So, I mean, it was okay for me and Jess as we work for ourselves. We just went and picked Harv up. But you can imagine if you were in a job where you couldn't get to your phone during the day, and in good faith, we'd sent Harv off to Sparkles where she spends the morning, and then they take her through to Glenvroe. I know she's not the only people that does that. There's quite a few that do that. And you think, if you're at work and you can't get to your phone, you wouldn't have known that. And gosh, it's horrible to think what would have happened to your child and where they would have ended up if you hadn't have been able to be contactable until the end of the day. So I think that was very poor of Glenvroe. I mean, they could have and should have said that at very worst said it's going to be over tomorrow. And I don't know why they bothered jumping the gun, because literally 3 hours later the government are saying that the schools are going to close anyway on Friday. So why they felt they had to jump that gun anyway, I'm not really sure. So all schools and nurseries are shut from Friday. Like I say, a bit disappointed with the way Glenvroe went about it. Thought that they could have gone about it much better. So we will be sending Harv in the morning to her normal Sparkles morning. Tomorrow she doesn't go on a Friday, so she just does what would have been Glenvroe on the afternoon on Friday, so that will be gone. So we'll send her tomorrow morning. Our reasons being simply because we are self-employed. The government still haven't offered us any kind of help. So that means that we have to work as normal, and the only way we can do that is by having childcare. And so we will have to take up that childcare that is offered to us tomorrow morning to have any chance of making any work tomorrow. So we will take that on tomorrow, and it's frustrating really, because they're giving out bits and pieces all over the place and not in particularly the correct order. So now self-employed people are now having to look after their children as well as work a full-time normal job, because we are not being given any information on what or if anything we will be getting from the government. So that's very frustrating. And I know that the service industry is still in a similar position to us, whereas they're not being offered anything either, and that is equally as frustrating. And I, for one, will still go out and use restaurants and pubs and the like, because I think it's wrong that they should be open when all this is going on, really, and they're not being offered any sort of compensation for it. So the only way you can compensate them is by using them and forcing the government into closing them down and giving them their way into being able to get their money back through insurance. And I think it's disgusting, and the only way you're going to get that sorted is by being pests and using them. We all in this house are on the very low risk factors of the coronavirus causing us any particular health concerns. We do not plan to visit any elderly relatives, despite not having any comeback on the government on being self-employed. We are responsible, and we will not send half to grandparents to be looked after while we work. That is not the responsible thing to do, and we will be responsible despite no help from the government, which is, as I say, disgusting. But I will not stop using pubs and play centres and restaurants if they are open, because they should be allowed to close and apply through their insurances to be protected. And I think the government are dragging their feet, and it is disgusting that they would rather see the bigwigs and the insurance companies be better off than the normal small independent businesses and the self-employed. So that's my view on that. As far as everything else goes, we will just carry on. So far, so good with work. As I say, it has dropped off a little bit, but it's not been so bad. We're still well above our bill rate, so that's fine. Obviously, we haven't got a lot of money for leisure, but there's not a lot of leisure going on, so that's fine. We can live on what we've got. But the worry and the fear is of the total lockdown, which will obviously hinder us massively. People will not be able to come out and bring their ironing to us. We may still be able to go out and pick and drop off ironing depending on the rules of the lockdown, if and probably when it does come now. Because if you looked at, I think it was Spain, had forms that you could print off the internet, and you were allowed out to do work. So you just filled in the form and you took that with you when you left. If you were stopped by police or military or whatever, that was one of the reasons you were allowed out. So presumably, if they do something similar here, we will be able to get out on those terms, and we will be able to continue our business. Otherwise, we are going to be absolutely forced into a zero income, which will be very, very worrying. We do have some contingency plans for that. They are not particularly fantastic, but we have discussed some other ways of income. But we don't know exactly how far down the line we're going to have to go with those things. There are means and ways of legitimately making money. Well, we are stuck with the ironing service, but as and when those come along, we will probably chat about those at the time. It's not worth going through it because it's quite varied and a lot of small bitty stuff that we can do, but we will hopefully be able to keep on working and just getting enough money to get by, which is fine for now. So we just wait for more news, really, and we just wish that news would come through all at once rather than in little bits, because it's not very helpful the way that they're going about it. But we plough on and see how tomorrow goes.